Hi, I'm Shoestring Jane and welcome back to Vlogmas Day 14. Got my little Christmas tree headband on. You can't see it, it's poking out the top of the camera. Never mind. Got my little Christmas gonk to keep me company. This is today's Christmas gonk. He's got a little wreath. Don't know where he came from. Charity shop or one of the girls bought him for me, I expect. Got my coffee. I need it today. Got really late today for me anyway. I didn't even wake up until 8 o'clock, which just never happens. And normally these days I wake up 5:30, 6 o'clock. I've done it really all year. I've just been waking up that early. I'm naturally an early bird, but 8 o'clock's really unusual. And I think I must have really needed it. I was doing the painting until it's probably about 7:30 last night. And then there was a little bit more to do. There's a strip around the window, but I just ran out of steam and I thought I just need to stop now and tidy up a little bit, do the washing up and get myself sorted. So I did, and then I just passed out on the sofa catching up on episodes of Coronation Street for a bit. I love Coronation Street. I've always loved Coronation Street, but I haven't been watching very much of it lately, so I've got a whole load of it to catch up on. I'm well behind. It's the only soap I like on TV. Apart from, well, yes, on TV is the only soap I like. And the only other soap I like is The Archers on Radio 4, which is always brilliant. And again, I've been a long-term Archers fan. But anyway, I digress. Day 14 of Vlogmas. What have we got to talk about today? First of all, I'll do my Advent of Change calendar. And we're on day 14. I couldn't find day 13 yesterday, but yes, day 14 is here. Okay, what have we got today? Sand dams worldwide. Today you have provided a family in Africa with drought-tolerant seeds to grow a reliable source of fresh food for their children. Really, that's the very least you can flip and expect in life, isn't there? Being able to feed your children. So that's a good one to support. And today I thought what I'd talk about was food waste, which kind of goes with that. And how we waste so much food. And it seems so kind of immoral when there are people who are literally starving in the world. And not only that, but if you're on a tight budget, it makes no sense. You're literally throwing food in the bin. And I think at Christmas it happens even more. And I'm not saying I've never been guilty of this. The bags of salad, the little bags and the bits at the end, I think, oh God, it's gone a bit soggy and horrible. But even that I sometimes find it useful. I'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, so I think the big thing to reduce food waste is to just not buy too much. And the way you can avoid not buying too much food at Christmas or any time is to plan your meals. And I don't so religiously meal plan now that it's just me and Justin here a lot of the time, but I always have an idea, and very often I'll do an actual written meal plan. And when the girls were here, I definitely always did a meal plan because it saved so much money. It's amazing actually how much money it does save when you're not just blindly walking around the supermarket going, oh, we'll perhaps have this day and maybe we wouldn't do that. And do we need a bit of pasta? And you kind of blindly going around buying stuff and thinking, oh, that looks nice, I'll have that. And you end up with loads of stuff you're not going to use on time, or you don't really have the makings of sensible meals. So I found it made so much difference to my budget when I started meal planning years ago. So why is Christmas any different, really? I mean, it's a time of excess and overindulgence. So fine, I'm not saying don't do that. Sit and scoff a whole thing of Cadbury's chocolates if you feel like it's Christmas. If you can't do it at Christmas, when can you? But it's so tempting to go overboard, isn't it? And buy just too much food and too much drink, and it is end up with a lot of waste, really. And you don't want to kind of punch a hole in your budget unnecessarily. So I'd say it's really, really worth planning things when so much good food ends up in the bin otherwise. So the first thing I do, as I say, is meal plan. Think about every single meal you're going to have. So normally I say, if you're working late one day, something easy. If your kids have got sports things, do something easy, get something that's very quick to put even in a microwave meal, if it makes sense, if you've planned it in. You don't have to cook from scratch, sometimes you don't have time to cook from scratch, but it stops you buying a takeaway, which is much, much more expensive, obviously. Just easy stuff, jar of pasta sauce and some pasta, cheese on top. Honestly, kids just love that, don't they, really? My kids always liked pasta, with cheese, just grated cheese on it, maybe chopped up bit of ham or bacon. And that was it, and butter. They were really happy with that for the odd quick tea. I'm not saying that's healthy, and I'll just try and maybe chuck a can of sweet corn or some peas in it as well to give a bit of green, a bit of veg. If you do that first, then that's a good starting point. But to help you do that, do a stock take. And why not do that at Christmas too? Go through all of your cupboards, go through the freezer, go through the fridge, see what needs using up first, particularly the fresh stuff, and build that into your plan. And if there's stuff that's looking a bit soggy, make some soup. That's what I do. Make soup. You can always make soup, and then that's a few days' lunches. You can add that to your meal plan. So do a stock take is number 2. And you might find things that you can incorporate into your maybe Christmas entertaining. I was thinking this morning, I've got some cans of coconut cream that I bought a while ago, and I did have a plan for them at the time, but something happened and we ended up not using them. So I was thinking, I could make something, nice with the coconut cream for our Christmas buffet. I've actually got 2 Christmas buffets now because we're now meeting some of Justin's family on Christmas Eve as well. So I've got to provide something for that. So maybe I'll incorporate it into that. So that's the kind of thing I mean, just kind of stock take and factor in using what you've got already. And the other thing you could do is anticipate leftovers. So, if you're buying a massive block of Stilton, the chances are it won't all get eaten. So I've got a recipe on my website, Stilton and broccoli soup, which I love. It's delicious. Stilton's good in any soup, actually. It really does go well in soup. I had Stilton and apple soup years ago, which I thought sounded horrific and was absolutely one of the most delicious things I've ever eaten. I'm a soup lover, so just right up my street. And any cheese actually is good in soup, or any cheese, you can crumble it up and make a pasta bake. Cheese is an easy thing to use. It tends to be quite long lasting, and you can freeze it as well. But factor in, what might be left over. Will we have leftover potatoes? Will we have leftover greens? Where can I use them? We'll have leftover salads. Where can we use them? Try and anticipate those, but be flexible in case you don't quite have the leftovers that you were expecting, because you never know, do you, really? And if you use stuff up in advance, that's what I've been trying to clear out stuff from the freezer. I've used up a lot of the soup. I've used up a lot of the frozen tomatoes, making more soup. I've got 3 things of courgettes in there that I'm going to kind of move out and try and use up really this before Christmas, because it means I'll buy less and it makes a bit more space for what I have to put in the freezer when it comes to the leftovers. The freezer is an absolute lifesaver, I find, when it comes to saving money. Some people are kind of worried about the cost of running a freezer, but if you keep it full, the cost is minimal really, and you can buy lots of yellow stickered items. You can make a load of soup, you can make stews, you can batch cook, you can freeze leftovers. There's so much potential to save money with a freezer. And obviously once you've done your meal plan and your stock take, write a shopping list. And when you go shopping, really try and keep your blinkers on and avoid all this delicious looking things that have come out for Christmas. Generally there's always those kind of bug off type things, buy one get one free, that you think, that's such a bargain, I need it. Only buy it if you really need it, are going to use it in the future. And also check that the supermarket's own brand isn't still cheaper, because it often is. So try not to be tempted by excess things that you're not really going to use, you don't really want, and might actually get wasted in the end. And the other thing I found for Christmas is that it's tempting to kind of buy things because they're traditional. So it's tempting to buy a thing of dates, a thing of nuts, a Christmas pudding, a Christmas cake, those kind of foods. And actually it took me quite a number of years to accept that although I would eat Christmas cake, it wasn't my favourite thing. Justin will eat Christmas cake. Again, he'll eat it eventually. It's not his favourite thing. The girls didn't really like it. What's the point of buying it? They don't like Christmas pudding either, really. So there's no point in buying a massive Christmas pudding. Justin absolutely loves it and is obsessed with it. But there's only so much you can eat in the end, Christmas pudding wise. He also loves mince pies. I like mince pies, but we're not going to buy too many. And then we'll be kind of reduced after Christmas anyway. He'll continue to eat them, no doubt. But the girls don't really like mince pies. So what's the point of buying a load of stuff because it's traditional that nobody's going to eat? I've also stopped buying a whole load of nuts because we used to sit and crack loads of nuts and eat them, and I found over the last few years they kind of hang around a bit too long, and there's so many other things that are easy to eat. You don't have to make the effort of cracking a nut, massive effort. So, you know, they get left over, so there's no point really in doing it. And dates as well, I don't buy the kind of bog standard dates because they sit around and we don't eat them, even though we do like them. So only buy what you know the family's going to eat. In the end, what I used to do when the girls were all at home was, rather than making a Christmas cake, I'd make a chocolate cake and I'd put kind of snowy icing on top, and that would all get eaten. So that was better for us. Also, if you've got a bone or two left over, make bone broth or stock or something with it, because it's so delicious. And, you know, slinging it in the bin or the food waste, especially when you've got like maybe scraps of meat and stuff still on it, is a real wasted opportunity, especially if, like me, you do like making soup. So, you know, even if you haven't got enough bones to make a load of stock initially, tuck it away in the freezer, and then maybe you've got a small turkey carcass. Actually, a turkey carcass probably is enough to make stock with, but, you know, we're only having a small one this year, which is me and Justin, so probably won't be enough. I'll put it in the freezer, and when maybe I get a chicken carcass later on, we'll make something with that. But if you've got like a beef bone or something, that makes fabulous bone broth. You can just put onions and a bit of celery and maybe a carrot in there, bay leaf, and it's just delicious. And then if you do have leftovers, make sure you store them logically and sensibly. So, you know, maybe put them in Tupperware or old margarine containers or something, and date them, say what they are, move the stuff to the front, say to the family, this has got to get used up first. Move your cheeses to the front, say, can you use the cheeses up if you need a snack? You know, make it logical, use stuff logically, date it, and freeze stuff that's not going to be used quickly. Freeze whatever you can, and try not to repeat your mistakes of previous years. I've already mentioned about buying too many nuts and dates and things. If you buy tons of sweets and you find you've just got loads left over for the new year, and everybody's trying to be a bit more healthy in the new year, eat fewer sweets, and maybe they're going on post-Christmas diets and that sort of thing. So having a load of biscuits and sweets and things left over is pointless. So try not to overindulge. And if you did buy too many last year, try not to buy too many this year. And it's also worth mentioning that if you do have leftover non-perishable food that you're just not likely to use, maybe you bought something, like I bought the coconut cream for a specific recipe, or you bought a load of lentils and didn't use them, or that kind of thing, or you've got gift sets of toiletries that you know are going to bring you out in a rash and that kind of thing. Don't forget the food bank will gladly take things like that. I mean, the coconut cream's a bit niche, I'll hang on to that, but, you know, things that, you know, most people would happily use, toiletries, that kind of thing, you know, go and donate them to the food banks, particularly after Christmas, when people have a kind of big splurge of donating to the food bank before Christmas, but then they probably have a little bit of a dry period during January, and people really are skint then. So that's a good thing to consider. So those are my ideas on avoiding food waste particularly, but waste generally. What are yours? Oh, the other thing I should mention, if we're talking about waste generally, is wrapping paper. So if somebody gives me a nice present and it's wrapped in nice paper, I do my real best to open it without damaging the paper so that I can fold it up and use it again. And I use it loads and time again. Gift bags, little ribbons and bows and things that you get to go on presents. Save all of those. I tend not to give wrapping paper, but as I say, this year, because we had some I found in our attic, I'm going to use it up. I use old fabrics and things like that quite often to wrap the presents with, and ask for them back, or ask people to use them again themselves to wrap presents in the future, so that prevents a bit of waste. Anyway, give me your top tips in the comments for preventing food waste, for preventing waste generally, for using up leftovers and that kind of thing. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I will see you for day 15 of Vlogmas tomorrow. See you then. Bye for now.